So let's take a look at where we left off last time. I'm going to go ahead and press A and then hit Tab and go to pose mode so that we're looking at the different pieces that can pose our character. So what we created was essentially the walk cycle for the legs. Very generic, basic walk, but looks pretty good. I like the leg movement. We didn't even clean this up yet, and we've got some pretty good motion going on. All right, I'm going to hit spacebar and stop that. And let's go ahead and hit N here and bring up our panel on the side. And we want to go down to Cloud Rig. Now, Cloud Rig is what controls the switch between our arms. So, for example, if you look over here, you'll see this little guy here, and this is the Properties menu or Properties tab. You'll see these different layers. So if I turn off this front layer, you can see it got rid of all of those curves or those controllers. But if I turn on that second layer, you can see I've got a whole nother set here of controls. Now, because we're quote unquote almost done with the legs, right, with our generic walk, these are for IK controls, right? So if I select that and I hit G, you can see it makes my arm move a lot like my legs, where the arms stick in place as I move. I like to animate my arms in forward kinematic. Forward kinematic is a little different. So you can see over here, we have this FKIK switch. And if I move this left arm down to 0, you'll see the arm float down on each side. Now I'm going to turn off that top eyeball and I'm going to turn on that second one. You could see that we have these new switches here. And what these do is these allow me to rotate the arm. But as I move, they're in a more forward kinematic, which means they don't stick in place or they don't hold. So if I select that and I press G and I move my character around, you can see my character is a little bit more static. But if I turn on both, you can see here I've got both switches and I can select that one there and I can rotate that around the legs. But for now, I'm just going to, for readability or visibility, I'm just going to turn that off. We're going to focus on forward kinematic with the arms. Now, if we look at our PureRef reference here, you can see that the opposite arm is forward. So, for example, this back leg, this character's left side of their body is back, just like mine. And that means that this arm here is down and forward. What I tend to do is, you can go to item here. It's the same thing as like I told you before. Is I'll add like a little slight bend in the elbow, but I try to keep these values even across the character. They're just either negative or positive. So for example, I can say 20 here is positive, but negative 20 is in the front, right? And we're kind of matching that opposite leg. And then we can say, well, let's do let's see, let's do a -8 here and going on here. Try 80. I think that's good. So -20, -8, and 80. So what that means for this right here, it's really the opposite. So, and actually, remember what I said before. We could always select all of these keys, like once we key this arm, and we could always do a flip for the other side of the body. So, well, you know what? Let's just kind of go in here and rotate this out. Let's see. Get this arm going, and then down here. I don't understand why it's so low. Maybe I'm missing something here, but so we got a -30 here, and then maybe a -5, and then we got a 5, -35 and 5. All right, so let's go up here and let's grab this one, and you could see what are we at here? Oh, let's see. I think we had it at 20, but let's see, -15, and then -8 and 80. So we're gonna do 15 because we want that back, 8, and -80. Something like that. And then for the elbow here, select this wrist here. We had -30, -5, and 5. So with this, it's a little different because the arm, it kind of extends back. So let's see what a good value here is for this. These could be zeroed out. So maybe a minus 30 on this as well. So I'm going to hit A and then I'm going to hit I to key it. Now you could, I mean, it's a little bit more exaggerated here. So you could, if you wanted to, just sort of push it a little bit more and just say, okay, you know what, I'm going to go 40 here. And then, let's see, minus 40 here. And then you'll get, well, I guess on this particular one, the way the rig is set up, because the controller is so low compared to the shoulder, we can keep it a little less subtle, so or a little more subtle. So I'm going to hit A. I'm going to hit I to key it, and then I'm going to go to frame 25. Actually, let's go ahead and hit the summary here and hit Control C to copy all of those. Then I'm going to go to frame 25 and hit Control V. Let's try that one more time. A to select all. Down here, Control C, head over to 25. Click on this summary one up here and then paste it. Like, it wanted to key those. Let's see what's going on here. A, I to key them. It looks like those are all keyed. Control C and paste. You know, I'm wondering if we have to on 7. Let's see, copy this and then go to frame 7. See if it'll allow us to paste it. I think I know what the issue is. We never keyed our IKFK switch. So let's go back to our cloud rig and let's see. Yeah, do you see how it changes this? So I'm going to clear the keyframes on this and clear the keyframes on that. Now I should be able to paste that. Yeah, that's the problem. We had keys on these. So I'm going to go ahead and hit A on this and hit Control C. Then I'm going to Control C. Then I'm going to go to frame 25 and hit Control V. And now we should have that. And then what I can do is on frame 13, I can right click and then paste flipped. And now we've got some arm movement going on. There we go. Very robotic, but remember we're making a generic walk here. Let's stop really quick. So let's keep going. So on frame 1, I'm going to select that wrist bone there and just rotate the wrist back a little bit. And then the same thing here. I'm going to rotate this wrist up a little bit. And again, just making sure those set keys, hit A, Control C, and then making sure on 25, we paste those keys. So that wrist like that. And then inversely on 13, I'm going to select all of this, hit Control C, just head over to frame 13, and then just do paste flipped. So what we get is we get a nice little movement in the wrist as our character is walking. The other thing I want to do is, and again, I tend to jump around because you'll see some people, they'll do the first pose as nice and as clean as possible. For me, when I'm working with beginning animators, whether I'm teaching them at a studio or in the classroom, I find that letting them see the movement as quick as possible is probably the best way, and then they can go in and tweak it or just start over. All right, so same thing here. Shift space, make sure you're in rotate. I'm going to rotate that shoulder back just a little bit, and like this on 1. And I'm going to rotate this shoulder on 1 forward a little bit, like that. Now we haven't done anything. Remember, like, here, let's make sure we hit A and then just copy that and then paste, bloop, and 13, paste flip. Do you remember on frame 7 how our passing pose, our hip rises up to accommodate for that leg movement until it comes down? It's what gives us that nice little kick. Well, if you look at our reference here, what happens is it counteracts or contrapposto the one at the hip movement here. So you can see it becomes this like symbol here, and so like this V shape. So what we want to do in our shoulders is just have a little off balance there. So something like this, just a tiny bit. And let's see what that number is. So I'm going to Probably is just the neck. Yeah, it's just the neck. So let's do about, let's see, to counterbalance that, 5. And then let's make sure that's zeroed out on 11. And then we're on 7 here. And remember, you always have this guide up here for 7 and 19, wherever the passing is. So let's go to 19. And let's do -5 here. Now, what we want to do is make sure that that head is straight. So let's go back to 7. Select this guy up here and just straighten out that neck a little bit. So, -5 in that direction. And then we're going to do +5 on 19. And that has to do with, remember, we were talking about the values sort of like keeping them even as possible as you go. And let's take a look at how that looks. And what we could do too, which I like to do, is I'll just add another 3D layout here. And then inside of this layout here, let's see, let's make this. Just like this little guy here, which shows overlays. And now we can just kind of watch our animation from this view without seeing all this stuff. Right. All right. And then let's see. Let's hide this for a second. Something else we can do is off in our properties panel here is, I believe it's layer 6. We'll turn on the fingers. We could just go in here and then just drag a marquee. Let's see, we'll select. You could also kind of hold down on this so you can get a selection box. Grab all of these and then just hit shift and space and go to rotate. And just kind of rotate those fingers in a little bit. Let's make sure we do that on 1 though. It's kind of giving her more of a natural pose. And then when we get to 7, you can extend them a little bit. Something like that. Let's go here on 1. Let's do the same on the other side here. Oops. Let's grab these fingers. And if you need to, it's B. And B will give you that this selection here. If you want to switch it between them, you could press W. Like that. All right, same thing as before. Grab your rotation tool, just kind of make those a little more natural on 1. And then when we get to frame 7, you can extend them out just a little bit, make them a little more relaxed. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's copy all those. So A, Control C, let's go to 25, Control V. Oh, let's click off of that. So let's go to 1 here, hit A. And you want to be conscious of which keys it's selecting. Like you can see, we got some stuff going on here. So I'm just going to click on this summary here. Copy that and then head over to 25 and paste it. That way we're not getting all that extra junk. And then on 13, I'm going to right click, paste flipped. And then we'll get our fingers in there. And then for 7, select that top summary key, Control C, and then let's head over to 19 and then paste flipped. So let's see how that looks. All right. We definitely need some more softer movement, but we at least have like a livable walk cycle here. And we got some eye movement going on because of this. Oops. Whoa. Let's hit space for a second. But we have some eye movement going on because these are our aim controllers. These two here. And if we move those around, you can see our eyes move. But anyway, I think this is good for now. Actually, let's just highlight these and just B again. Just delete all the keys on it. So I'm going to go in here, select all of those, and just delete keyframes. That way we don't get any eye movement. Those might be like stuck. Anyway, yeah, looks good for now. That's it for this one. This video got a little long. We'll do a little bit graph editor in the next video.